I will not be an exception. My old timer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, dear fellow Toastmasters, first of all, very happy to see you all. And I would like to make a statement. We, as humanoids, seem to be pretty long time in operation. Yes, it's true. There are some parts in our brains which are like 50 million years old. And these are very complicated mechanisms, are responsible for certain emotions. And these emotions are pretty vital for us as all humans. By the way, any guesses what I will be talking about?
Starts with an A. I forget the area of the brain.
No, emotion. Okay.
Oh, I thought it was an area of the brain.
I will talk about fear. Some people say that fear is good. Why good? Because the controlled fear is always good for an adrenaline. And the guys who like extreme sports, they like to have the controlled fear. Other people say that no. Fear is definitely not good because first of all, this is the stress. Secondly, when fear becomes the phobia, and the phobia, this is an obsession with fear. It is no longer the stress, it is already the distress, and it starts to ruin the body. And there are also individuals who say that, well, fear, what is it? Baby, how can I be fearful? No fear at all. Okay. And now there is a shortfall. Here, respected gentlemen and ladies, is there anybody here in the room who can say that he has no fear at all? If yes, please raise your hand.
Everybody.
Well, I was preparing for both scenarios. Okay, now this is scenario number one. Good. So now let us imagine there is the forest and it's very dark. And all what you can see is just the stars shining. And you have to walk through this forest in the complete darkness. And there is no living creature nearby. And then you start to walk, you just hear your steps. And all of a sudden you start to hear the weird sounds. Who that might be? A dog? A person who is behind you? You never know. And then you start to have this sensation deep inside yourself, and your heart starts to beat up, your pulse rate goes up, and then you have a choice, the choice which the nature has invented for us. And this choice is the fear which helps us to survive. It is called fight or flight. When we are in an extreme situation, we have only two options, either to accept the fight or to escape from the situation. So this is something which definitely fear is extremely important. And now, as I still have some time, definitely I will tell you a little bit about my personal fear and about my phobia. So as psychologists say, fear, there are different definitions for the fear. Fear, this is the sensation, the anticipation of unknown, of open future. We do not know what will happen the next moment. And the phobia, this is an obsession with the fear. So for my personal story, I was never afraid to fly. And my first flight I took at the age of 20. I flew from Moscow to Uzbekistan. That was a great flight. I came back home the next day and I saw my mom. And I shared with my mom and I said, Mom, it was so good. The first time I flew, I enjoyed the takeoff and I enjoyed the landing. And Mom just looked at me like a crazy person and she said, Andrey, how can you like to fly? There's a turbulence there. There is an air bumps and the plane may crash just in the middle of a flight. I thought, my God, no, nothing like that happened during the flight. But imagine, next flight, when I was on board of a plane, the only thing which I was looking for was the turbulence. And And the turbulence basically happened. And then it's like the phobia started to grow. I was waiting all the time for the turbulence. I was waiting all the time for something to happen throughout the flight. And then definitely, as my phobia increased, I started to take the huge loads of alcohol to the board of a plane. Well, I know it's good to laugh for me as well now, because I was inventing so many different ways. I was putting alcohol in so many different containers. I was trying to cheat Delta Airlines. I was trying to cheat, I don't know, Swiss Airflot was the simplest thing to do with. But nevertheless, it was not good. It was not good for me, because it was becoming the distress. And definitely, I was ruining myself, because I did not drink outside of the planes. So what I did, and by the way, maybe that will be also useful for you. In order to fight with your fear, first you need to determine where it all started. Usually it starts either in your childhood or in your first time experience, like it happened with my mom. So my mom was like a little trigger, which basically linked the pain to my experience of flying. The second thing, what you need to do, you need to analyze the source. And then the easiest way to fight the fear is to go towards the fear. What I did in my personal scenario, I did everything to learn how the planes fly. I even penetrated before 9/11 to the pilot's cabin, and I was together with the pilot to see how the plane was flying, how the engines were working, and what was the pressure in the left and right engine. And so my fear at least was gone for the most part. And what is remaining now basically is fight or flight, the little intuition which can help me to survive in case of need. What I want to wish you guys is to definitely be honest to yourself, define your fears, and never allow the fear to be your master. Be the master of your fear.